Really.
Welcome to the Scandal Podcast. I am one of your hostesses, Jaha Knight, author, branding coach, and speaker, and I am joined by the noisy crew that probably sounds like Langstan.
It's all quiet over here.
Yeah, you know who it is. It's D. Shane. It's like, come on now, you know we on.
Is he really? You need to put your
I got a thing for B. Shane. I gotta come back to him and just tell him how he was wrong, and he should stand in his wrongness and he's wrong about Abby and Olivia. And how I was
what? I'm glad. I'm kind of glad he's not on because the way that Jaha went in on him last week.
I know.
I don't know. Y'all really.
Jaha, what'd you do to him? I didn't get a chance to watch
You should look at the comments of this episode. The comments under this episode, well, the last episode we just did, the comments under there where we're going back and forth with him and one of the other gladiators. I was like, I'm about done. I'm about done with y'all.
Because he said just one wrong thing about Olivia, and she went off. I said, don't look into the camera. Don't look into the camera.
Don't even tell me what he said, because I'll get on that ass too after the fact.
Oh yeah, it was funny though.
Post fuck up, I will do it.
It was fun. Get him in the after dark because definitely he's after dark. So go in on the after dark.
I'll be like, what was said?
Don't let me hear what you had said about Olivia.
I have had a lot of conversations over these past few days with a bunch of gladiators in different forums under different comments. That was very interesting. So what did you all think about this episode, the key episode of this Scandal show? What did you all think? What were your opinions? Elde'a, start first.
We didn't even introduce ourselves.
I never did. I gave you the floor. Y'all do that every week. I gave you the floor and I let it ride.
My overall comments of the show, you know what? I wasn't impressed, but I wasn't unimpressed, if that makes sense. Like, it didn't wow me after coming off last week. I think I think we all were on Twitter and we heard the reaction. People were like, what? After last week, they thought the show was going to be like that every week. And it kind of went back to what it was the first two episodes. So it didn't wow me. It had moments, which is what Scandal is known for giving you. They don't always give you, neck break pacing always. Sometimes
you can't do that all the time.
Right.
It's like exercise.
Yeah.
By the way, D. Shane says he's not afraid of you, Jaha.
I like it when you're not afraid. I like it when you're not afraid.
But again, overall, I wasn't impressed, but I wasn't unimpressed. I liked it. I think it's continuing with with what season 4 has been, which is sort of peeling back layers. I feel like instead of giving us story, she's laying the ground for story, and I feel like the second half of the season is going to be like off the hook, like off the chain, and she's kind of like laying the bricks, and people don't want to wait for the bricks to be laid. They want the house to already be built. But I feel like that's what Shonda's doing, is she's like, I'm going to build this house, and then I'm going to allow you to come inside of it in the second half of the season, if that makes sense.
But that's usually how the seasons go. She usually sets you up, and then by mid-season you can barely breathe all the way up until the end. So, but
if you are joining us live, you can tweet me at Scandal Podcast. I put it in the little room, the little Google room, or I don't know what the hell to call it. But I put it in there so you can tweet me live because I forgot to enable a Q&A. Yeah, the Q&A app. So just tweet me if you have comments to share.
Yeah, for all of us. I'm off Twitter right now. I've been off Twitter for a couple of days.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What did Twitter do to you?
Oh, no, I just had a little mental break with reality on Wednesday, and I said I'm taking myself off of social media. I haven't seen a tweet, not a tumble, not a nothing.
She said not a tumble.
So today's the first day I even posted anything on my blog, and that was just a link to the podcast. I'll go back. Is that
why?
A minute. Olivia would say.
I'm gonna just tell y'all, don't let Langston get y'all off track. Half that episode wasn't even done last week because of Langston and these shenanigans getting me all off track.
Wait a minute.
Langston was the one suggesting that I drink wine. Langston was like, drink wine.
That was you. That was you and Deshae.
I should have brought something stronger.
That was you.
I know, right?
Want to get up?
That was you and D and them shenanigans. Now
I'm just saying.
I was just a silent observer. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Y'all know Langston is never a silent observer.
Okay, getting back on track. Katrina, what did you think?
Yes.
You know what? Because I am kind of in my own bubble over here, and I've had some scandal issues going on in the past couple of days. So like I shouldn't say with the show, just with stuff like, I guess, fandom, blogging, like related stuff, not the show itself. Anyway, I enjoyed the episode. And so for me, coming off of the episode, it didn't feel to me like there was a problem. It wasn't the kind of dramatic end that was last week, but I feel like that built us up, and then we had to kind of like a slow crescendo down off of that. Mm-hmm. I think I see what's going on in these couple of build-up episodes, and I'm waiting for the moment. All I have to say is I am wearing a bow for all of the elbows Fitz was throwing, and I also have 3 hugs for him because he needs a hug. He needs a motherfucking hug. The boy is really breaking. He needs some help. We'll talk about that later, but I enjoyed the episode.
So now you should have saved that for after dark, because now you're showing your breast all on camera. Right? I was like, what's going on? I'm like, what's happening here? It's like,
I was showing wait. She was shaking it all in the face. I had to look away.
The cactus tatas.
Listen, I am a member of the itty bitty titty committee, so like it's
no, not at all. Not at all. And,
I don't know what's going on here. I have lost control of the people on the podcast. They shaking tatas and talking about this is not normal, y'all. If you have tuned into this kind of podcast.
We're just having fun. But my overall thoughts kind of mirror. I don't know. It's like I have a toss up between Elde'a and Katrina on my feelings as far as the show is concerned. I did kind of have this like, like I just was waiting for the train to get started, but at the same time, there was movement, there was motion. It's just that it kept stalling every once in a while, but it was still a good episode.
It wasn't smooth, but there were some incredible moments and incredibly important and satisfying things that happened in this episode.
Absolutely. Only and when we get to our favorite scenes, we'll talk about that too. But overall, I enjoyed the episode overall.
You guys come to me last on fave scenes because I wrote down like 7. So whatever you guys don't say.
Well,
she wrote down like 7.
I think we're going to probably have to space you between the other 2 gladiators so that you can get 2 out.
I'm just saying that if you guys bring them up, then I know, okay, well, I'll eliminate that, or I'll just put in 1 cent,
elimination.
Not 2,
awesome.
Because I'm trying not to do too much. So just 1 cent that I will add to other things.
Okay, awesome. So we'll start back with Elde'a. Did we get your feelings about the episode, Langston?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Go ahead, Elde'a.
For favorite scenes or about the episode?
Yes, Elde'a.
I don't know if we moved on. Okay, my favorite scenes. I had 4. I'm like, I did have a lot. But if I had to pick them, like if you were like putting a gun in my hand, like pick them.
You have 3.
3. Okay, my 3 were, if I had
gun.
My 3 were the scene with Huck and Kim. I really like that because it answered questions, because we have been wondering for the first 4 episodes what happened when he knocked on the door. Quinn has been wondering. We've all been kind of wondering. So I like that wasn't revealed through a flashback, that it was revealed through in actual time. Like, what happened? He knocked on the door. He tried to explain to her, and she thinks he's a crazy madman. I like that. My other favorite scene was with Liv and Papa Pope. I thought that was weird and awkward and funny.
Oh, at her place?
And touching, yes. I thought it had all these elements that were going on. And I thought Carrie and Joe played them really well. Carrie was like, I'm not the girl. When did I become that person? And he's like, well, what could have possibly happened to him? It was like, it was classic Papa Pope and Olivia. So I really liked it. And that, particularly when she gave him that side eye, she was like, did you really just say that to me? Like, and you could tell she was thinking in her mind, can I really believe anything that you're saying to me right now? Like, is this genuine? Is this real? You could tell that was kind of what was going through her mind. And then my other scene was the scene with Melly when Fitz came back and she got up off the couch and was like, I promise I won't see her wear a tee. I mean, just the invitation alone was made that scene so funny, but then it turned so dramatic. And it's like, now you really don't know, is Melly crazy or is she not crazy? Because I don't know anymore. So those are my three.
I loved that scene, the way
that was one of my favorites too.
I was like, Gonda Rhimes, you are a motherfucking mad genius to turn that scene that way and have that be close with her. And it was because you saw her sort of like the next day or whatever, later that evening, get in the shower.
Yes.
Anyway, that scene, the second part of it, it was both horrifying and also kind of perfect because, you know, like, you know, I didn't want you to find out that he was killed, and he goes to try to comfort her, and she's like, his death had meaning. It wasn't a random like death. He was killed so that you could be in this office, so that we can be in this office. And she's not saying it with bitterness, but the thing is, for Fitz, you remember how he fell on his knees in 318, thinking of all the sacrifices and all the kind of destruction wrought in his name for him to be in that office, and subsequently dedicated himself to being a better president. And he's been on his president steez like for the last 2.5 months. And so her saying that about Jerry horrified him about, I can't believe you interpreted it in this way. Who are you? But for me, I'm like, that's Melly. That's old Melly coming back in that moment. That's not crazy Melly. That's old Melly, like, doing that. Remember, you guys, this is the woman who placed her own rape into a kind of a rationale as a political sacrifice in some ways, and how she dealt with it. So I can't say I wasn't surprised, but I was like, this is just so perfect the way Shonda has done this. But then what that did was it horrified Fitz that, fuck, not another thing sacrificed for this office to be president. My son too, and he has not dealt with his grief, and we'll talk more about that. But yeah.
But tacking on to what you just said, I just, you know, that I sat there horrified when those words came out of her mouth about how it's like it was the greatest sacrifice. He was like a war hero and stuff. And I'm like,
soldier. He was our soldier.
I was like, is she serious right now? And I was just like, I felt a knot building in my stomach because I was like, okay, I want Melly back, but this is kind of twisted. This is kind of twisted right here.
Yeah.
But also, it also makes you connect to, I think it was the second episode where she was finding purpose again and trying to solve the killer bride thing, where she thought, and it's like that was helping her find some purpose, to have something that she could figure out, because she couldn't figure out Jerry's death. She couldn't figure it out.
It didn't make sense to her.
And then when Fitz told her that, she's like, Eureka, I got it. Now this works for me. This happens for me. I can do this. I can work with this. That was her whole attitude change in that moment. It was like she went from horror to, I got it. Okay, now I'm cool, because now I know, now there's a reason that all of this happened, and I can move on now.
She had a tangible way.
Any parent would want that kind of logic. Right. They would want something to help them ground themselves to logic. I thought that just like how we always say that Shonda pulls from like Shakespeare or something like that, when she said he died for our sins, it made me think more about Jesus. And kind of parallel. And I was like, Melly is losing her mind. And she thinks that Jerry's death was a Jesus move. Like, no.
Right.
But Melly has been pulling on that religious kind of, religious connotations, religious iconography for a while now. You know, she
with the whole Olivia on the cross.
Olivia Pope, nail her honey, the nails, the cross,
the wood.
I love that scene from 303. She has been doing that and seeing her own self and as a martyr for so long, after being raped at the hands of Big Jerry, that her whole life was a sacrifice to the Grand Clan dynasty.
Yeah. Melly has been a walking Greek tragedy for a while. So.
Oh yeah.
But that was just absolutely nuts though. But she, it was like something in her mind said, okay, it's time to take a shower. And let's not forget she was also very, very drunk because this is the first time we saw her drinking straight out of the pitcher. She was pissed.
Yo, that was hilarious.
She was pissed. She was pissed because she literally thought that he was off, kicking it with Olivia. So she was like, I don't need a glass. I'm just going to drink straight out the pitcher.
And it's interesting that she refers to Jerry in the sense that he's still alive. Like when she had that scene with Fitz, she was like, I'm here because Jerry's here. We see him every day at 2:30. And then when Fitz walked in, she was like, you missed seeing Jerry today. She refers to him in the present tense a lot, not so much in the past tense. So I think that's an indication that she's not as crazy as people would like to think that she is.
Well, not just that, and just that because Jerry
does indicate that she's crazy.
Well, no, you know what I think it is? Well, partly. I think it's because that both of these people, and I think we've seen perspectives from Melly, and Fitz has been a little bit more under the radar with this, and I think Shonda is building up to something with him and this grief because this man has not dealt with it, and he also doesn't have any support to deal with it either because Melly is not like really a support system. They're not supportive to each other in that way. Fitz has been helping to take care of her and making sure someone is there to help her get up to bed if she's strong, that she has her chips when they go to the grave and and every single day that is a part of his schedule. At 2:30 they go and they see Jerry. Every day, that means these people are living with this kid, reliving that memory, reliving that tragedy every single day. That's not closure, and it's not even about feeling. It's about ritual and practice. Being seen to grieve, but doesn't mean that they are and are really like kind of cutting through that. And Fitz needs to get there. He's not. Melly is on her way, and Fitz. And anyway,
You have another one?
That's Elde'a. Was your last one?
Oh, I'd name my three: Huck and Kim, Melly and Fitz, and Papa Pope and Olivia. Those are my three.
Okay, go ahead, Katrina. Well, Langstan.
Go ahead, Langstan.
Well, of course, obviously the Fitz and Melly scene, that just kind of like put a deep knot in my stomach. But I also enjoyed the Quinn figuring out where the key was. I was loving that because she was. Well, I mean, nobody enjoys watching someone cut somebody open, but no, I'm talking about just the process that she went through where she sat there and she just concentrated and just kept going over and over and over it till she figured out. She swallowed that key.
Like Langstan. She did Langstan. She rewound the scene and paused it. She went back to it.
Zoomed in, did all that stuff.
Typed them out. Was like, know where the key is.
I know where that key is now. Yeah, so that worked for me because I was right there with her. I was like, okay, because I was like, I leaned into the TV and I was like, okay, she was over on this side and then she went over that side. And why didn't she run? What's going on? So I was right up there with her. So
Langstan probably paused it before she got a chance to rewind it.
I was trying to part the TV screen. I was trying to get in there with her. I was like,
probably telling her, Quinn is right
I said, look, she put her hand to her mouth. She swallowed it. Look.
A 75 times zoom. It's like I'm a see it.
Yeah,
didn't we say on our podcast? Was it were we on 402? Was that the one? No, never mind.
But then also connected to that scene was also the scene where they actually witnessed the murder, and it was like, and I was kind of blown back because I was like, damn, this is the first time that we've seen Olivia like actually witness a crime.
Yeah,
and it's like so, and I was also happy to see that they didn't stop that storyline because I was like, when
it felt abrupt in 402 when that happened,
right? Because it just kind of ended, and then now we're back, and I'm like, okay, good. I was like, let's not. I was hoping let's not do that again, where we start something and then it just disappears. So I'm glad. So there's a through line that ultimately it'll be crazy if it all leads back once again to B613. But then my third scene would be the scene with between Olivia and Cyrus, because wow, I was just like, Cyrus, really, you're gonna sit there and lie like that? Because it was, it's like, no, there is no evidence, so how could you have seen it? So it's like, I think this is Cyrus finally getting his opportunity to get back at Jake for having
yeah. Oh,
lose you.
Plus, he was there. He saw the confession. He saw Rowan get the confession out of Tom, and that's what he was, talking about. No, it was clean. I saw it, Liv, and he's going on evidence based on what Rowan is telling them and what Fitz thinks he has. Like, Rowan has concocted all of this, and is like still spinning all of these threads, telling half-truths, but still spinning all these lies, just enough lies to like keep people like, in doubt. Like, could it be? Really? Could it be?
Yeah. That was one of my favorite scenes for the episode. Was what you were saying, Langston? That last one.
Is he frozen?
I don't know. He's been in and out. I know at one point I was saying something and y'all just kind of froze. My three scenes were Fitz and Jake in the end. I thought that was a lot of like you were saying earlier about Fitz snapping a little bit. Yeah. That was a part of that. But really, I thought it was kind of cowardly to me, only because now you're so angry because of the reality that this man may have taken some things away from you that you love. But also, it doesn't take a lot for you to beat on a man that's chained. I'm like, he's chained. You're getting your, justice, but he's chained. And also, Jake bleeds a hell of a lot. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, dang, he hit you one time. You got all that blood over there. Really?
I know, he hit him in the stomach and all that blood came. I was like, all right, you guys are going a little,
I think they were going
on the
blood factor.
With the gore factor. But
a little too much. And then oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish it. I wanted to say something about that scene.
But go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I think I'm imagining, I can't say that I know this because I don't know what the pulse of the fandom or reactions are out there, but I imagine that because of the things that Jake was saying, that people assume that, oh, this is just about Olivia, you're just jealous, you're being jealous and petty fits. And I really don't think that that's what it started out as, because if you look at the juxtaposition of the scenes, we have the scene with him and Mellie where he's horrified with what she said about Jerry being a soldier and a sacrifice for the office. And I think things have been building up for this man, and he is under stress. And he's just had not only, obviously running the country, this stuff with Mellie, trying to figure out his son's killer, that he still hasn't gotten any, not only has he not found justice for it, he hasn't gotten any closure himself. We come off an episode where he felt like a terrible father to his own daughter and feels like, look, at least I should be able to do this for my son and for my son's memory, which is to find his killer. He got the wrong person, which was Olivia's mother in the first place, and Olivia just told him that ruined them. Then come to find out it's this motherfucker that you don't really like anyway or really trust anyway. And I think Fitz wanted it to be him. He needed it to be him in order for him to move on. For me, his primary motivation going in there was not about Olivia. Like, he is capable of holding other thoughts in his head, in his pretty little head, besides Olivia. I do think, however, that, and remember, Jake doesn't know what Fitz has just been through, and he doesn't know what's going on in Fitz's head and what he's been through. So he's thinking, oh, I know exactly what this is about. You know, this is about Olivia. And then Jake starts being like, all right, well, if you don't give a damn, we don't give a, I don't give a fuck. So I'm just going to start saying all this really disrespectful stuff and taunt you. And I do think that added layers on to what was happening in the scene, and Fish just started going bam, 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 even harder at him. I think it made it worse than what it was. And the third thing is there is an element of a little bit of self-doubt that turns into self-hatred for Fitz. So he comes in there and he does the opposite of what Jake assessed him to be. You know, he's like, you're a good and decent person. Something I've been saying about Fitz for a while. I literally, like, I just wrote about this in my last essay a few days ago. I said, you know, people who say that Fitz is an asshole, like, and that's a reason to hate Olitz, like, I don't really find those arguments that valid, because I'm like, Olivia knows Fitz can behave like an asshole sometime, and she persists in loving him anyway because she knows him. So for me, for you to say I can't support this relationship because Fitz is an asshole is undermining Olivia's choice in knowing what she wants for her life and knowing the man that she wants. She's known this man for 5 fucking years and has been through hell and high water, like, with him. So for me, him coming in there was just trying to prove, like, she's not here. I need this to happen. I am under so much stress. I really need closure on this. I need it to be someone and to get justice for my son. It might as well be you, because I don't like you. No way. And maybe I'm not a good guy. Yeah, I am a motherfucker. And I'm not wearing a white hat right now. And I'm not wearing a white hat, and Olivia's not here, and I'm going to pummel the shit out of you, and it's going to feel good just for this moment, even if I feel like shit afterwards. And I think that is really real. Like, that moment where you just say, fuck it. I need for something to happen.
And deep down, I don't think he actually believes that Jake did it. I think this is just an excuse for him to punch him in the face for all the times that whatever he did on that island with Olivia.
And see, I don't think that's the primary thing either. I think once I was just saying that before you got back on the call. I think that became a part of it. Mm-hmm. In the scene, once Jake started saying shit like, you know, the times that I was inside of her, how she called my name, which reminded me of Fitz's disrespectful ass in front of Rowan, and he was trying to rile Rowan up in that same room back in 310, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wearing a white shirt. Like, this is what I'm like. What is it about these men that date Olivia and with the shit that comes out of their mouth?
Right. Oh,
putting her business all out.
I did have one other scene, and that was better for me, even more so than the Cyrus Olivia scene, was the Papa Pope and Olivia scene, because it just sucked the freaking. It just sucked the freaking air out of my lungs, because I was like, he just totally like weaved that whole story, all everything pointed to Jake, no matter how you try to go. But wait a minute, what about when but the one thing that she does need to question, I was yelling at the TV and telling her, how does he know that Jake wanted you to save him? How does he know that? How does he know that? Ask him that.
He was watching with us. That's right.
Because I was like,
is going to drop for her. She needs to calm down a little bit, and the penny is going to drop, because she'll see it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right.
But he just kept.
I think that Abby is going to finally kind of getting her thought processes together.
Didn't I tell you? Well, I saw a preview for next week where Abby goes to see Fitz. I told y'all in 403. I said, Abby's gonna get up in that bubble. I said, Abby and Olivia need to like have a sit down and a talk. Yeah. And Abby I said it. 403, and she's going to Fitz.
I have a strong.
What did you say about Abby? Abby what?
That Abby was gonna get inside the Olitz bubble. Remember, in Inside the Bubble, when she sits down, when she and Fitz like have that sit down at the end, and I said, oh, I can see what's gonna happen. Abby needs to, when they reunite as friends, which that was also one of my favorite moments, is what happened.
Oh boy. Am I the one freezing?
I'm just happy that somebody is there for Olivia. And also that, what did I say? I said something was going to happen that is going to either force Olivia and Abby to work together, or Abby is going to be helpful to Olivia in some way at the White House.
I think that breakdown, that little mini breakdown that Olivia had, was enough to finally break Abby's shell.
Yeah. Well, the friend came out of her. You can't, when you're there in front of somebody that you love, even if you're mad at them, it's hard to say, well, fuck you then, bye, when they're going through something like that.
When they're crying.
When they're hurting, because you know you love them and you wanna be there for them, even if momentarily you're still carrying whatever. It's not the appropriate time. So I love the difference between their phone call and what happened at the door.
The actual physical presence.
Yeah.
But the other thing that was funny to me too, and she said, when she's like, well, what's wrong? And she breaks down and is like, Jake killed Harrison and blah, blah, blah. And she had this look on her face like, girl, that's some bullshit right there. She's looking at her like, I know you did not just say that.
Right. It's
and
like,
then that's when she's like, oh, baby, come here, baby.
She had to say it like 3 times because it was almost like she didn't believe it and she was talking herself into it the way she kept saying it.
But she doesn't believe it, and she said that. She said
she doesn't believe it.
It's not true. But you know what it is? It's the doubt over Jake. The fact that that told me you don't really trust this dude. And what she was horrified over is that she could have possibly been standing in the sun, even though it was only the literal sun, with a guy who maybe she doesn't really know. And I think that is the part that scared her, like, oh my God, I was with this dude.
Right.
Okay. So
with this psychopath. I mean, the fact that she knows that he killed.
And don't talk over me, Langstan.
the fact that she knows that he killed 3 other people.
Slow down. We are still on question 1. We haven't moved past it yet.
Oh my God. All right.
37. So I'm just like, okay, we could talk about this stuff, but we have to get through some of this other stuff.
Yeah, we can talk about it in the context of other things.
We got a ton of other comments here, so I don't want to just leave all of that out. Go ahead and finish what you were saying, Langstan, so we can.
I was just saying the fact that she, with the knowledge that he has actually killed 3 other people, it's probably plausible in her mind, especially the way that Papa Pope weaved it in there. Was just like, but I still need for her to ask that question. How do you know that he wanted me to save him? Because he's only said that to her, and he said it a couple of times. So that means the dad's been listening. The dad's been listening in. So
See, I told y'all that thing wasn't gone nowhere. That little listening device that we were talking about from season 1 or 2. Told y'all that thing was still there. Remy,
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
All right, so Katrina, did you give us your 3? Because I never finished my 3. So I don't even know.
Yeah,
Did we cover any of them?
It's you. Yeah, you covered several of the ones that I'd written down. So the only other 2 that I'll add to it is I actually really liked Mellie interrogating Lauren, just in parallel with the interrogation scenes that we got. She was interrogating her about where Fitz was. Reading is fundamental, Lauren. And
that was funny.
This little surreal moment of Fitz and Jake singing "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay." I really liked it.
Gladiator and Harlem brought that up. She said, can we talk about Fitz and Jake singing though? My neck whipped around so fast, LOL. A couple of other comments from the listeners or from the people that are watching us live. I'm going to go probably from the bottom to the top because there's a lot. So here we go. Shane B says, okay, I'm ready. Just don't say the wrong thing. No Jake Love, and Olivia is borderline. He's having a love-hate relationship with Olivia. I don't know what's going on with him with that, but you can't love and hate the main character of the show like that. But he does apparently have that kind of feeling. But he said on a scale of 8 to 10, well, a scale of 10, 1 to 10, 8 was for this episode. And then Sweet Treats Forever says that 1, her favorite scene was the Fitz and Melly conversation, 2, Cy and Liv conversation, and 3, the Jake and Fitz conversation. Not Jake. See, Shane? See how you acting? I just called you Jake. You know what that means. Shane says each episode Olivia gets dumber and dumber. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
and
that's absolutely not true.
He says, Elde'a, you're giving Olivia too much credit. She believed all that crap Papa Pope was saying. She is dumb.
No, she didn't.
His favorite scene was when Melly said her son's death had meaning. Melly is authentic. Okay, Shane, I don't know what formaldehyde you've been sniffing over there.
I have told you to stop looking into the camera, boy. Stop looking into the camera.
Sweet Treats Forever. She says one of her favorite quotes was "boyfriend or your other boyfriend."
I love that shade. Oh, I mean your other boyfriend.
Yes, I'm talking to Olivia about her boyfriend and the other boyfriend. That was spec and script. And then Sweet Treats Forever. Sweet Treats Forever says Papa Pope is the real devil. Shake her. Yes, girl. Be scared of Papa Pope because he will twist your words. He's just like a one of these guys that are all about themselves. I don't remember what they're called. Young egomaniacs. Shane B says, don't forget that Fitz tried to kill himself. He may have already had his grief. Hands down, Quinn was that chick this episode. Gladiator in Harlem says, hey, y'all, waving. So, hey, Gladiator.
Hey.
Hi. So then she also says she feels like both Fitz and Olivia are heading for a breaking point, just from a human perspective or point of view. So much has happened to them both. And then Sweet Treats Forever says, true, Katrina, something you said, Katrina. She just had to hand clap.
Thanks. I don't know what it was.
Shane is back saying that he hates Jake. Why is Olivia the barometer for goodness? He's delusional, clingy, and weak. I agree that he's delusional, clingy, and weak, but
yeah, I agree for those things.
For goodness, because she's always trying to do the good thing, trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, even if she fails sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. Gladiator in Harlem says that there was great significance in Melly taking that shower. She's preparing for something. Wait, what? We don't know, but something. Then she says the more we see about inner workings of Olivia Pope, the less attractive it seems. Way too much darkness, but great clothes, though. She also
like Cyrus said, it doesn't look like that much fun.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Gladiator in Harlem says, can David ever return to normal after what he's been through? I'm nervous for him. He's the weakest link, or is he? Legally, Cam says she... I was asking questions on Twitter, so all of these were questions that I posted, so they were kind of responding to those, but I'm trying to remember what she's responding to. So I asked the question, should Olivia Pope have been more worried about where Jake was? I asked the Ole fans, and she says no. I thought she did enough with assessing whether her feelings were really silly or the where's my boyfriend shit.
Yeah,
I think legally Cam 225 says. So.
I think her emotions were appropriate too, for given the situation with them.
Yeah.
There.
Then she also says when the former proved to be true, she went about it the right way by getting Huck to track him. I asked some questions on this episode for the gladiators that are tweeting me back. Some of those questions were, and I'm gonna ask them to y'all so y'all can answer them to see, because we are all off script anyway, so it don't matter.
We are sticking to it next time. Jaha is gonna side-eye us.
Y'all are not going to do it.
Oh, well, it's good to switch it up sometimes.
It is good. I said it's overreach to question one boyfriend about another boyfriend and demand to know what's going on. What did you all think about that scene?
No.
I'll let you guys go.
No.
When Olivia was demanding of Fitz what was going on?
Yes.
That's never okay.
Well,
I don't know if she was demanding.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Do you have Jake?
She just asked, "Did he have Jake?" But the thing is that was the point. That was the point where her worry started to escalate, and it was I thought there was a very nice gradual escalation of her worry, because at first it was like, okay, you haven't called me back, blah blah blah. You know, the phone call. Then it's like, okay, it's been like what, 20 calls.
Yeah.
You know, Huck, could you find him? Okay, last known place he was at, White House. Okay, so she calls the one person she knows she can always count on to give her information, and he was shutting her down. So it was like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Well, he didn't shut her down. He just didn't give her any information because he didn't want to talk to her about it. But the other thing is, I know people are thinking, Fitz is just like hating because she don't want to be with his ass. And that's not it. Y'all forget that as much as Fitz and Olivia are in a relationship, that's also his best friend. That's his person. That's who he talks to. You know what I mean? He doesn't talk to Melly like that. He doesn't have anybody that he talks to. It's a very, like, lonely world in that office being president and the shit that he goes to. And I don't think, like, people, like, consider that, like, sometimes all the shit that he gets. So that's one thing. The other thing is Olivia, even when she is not with Fitz, like, asks and demands favors of him all the time. You remember after hunting season, it was Beltway Unbuckled. She goes there after she rejects him at the end of, hunting season. She's like, I am not yours, right? That was the last time she saw him. And in Beltway Unbuckled, she goes to go try to get a favor for the Jenny Nystrom case with the diplomatic immunity. And Cyrus is like, I can't believe you're showing up here. And then he's like, you need to go before Fitz comes in the room. And then Fitz comes in and he's like, what are you doing here? You came to show me the error of my ways. Don't worry, I'm awake. And she's like embarrassed, and she lip quivers out, and
I'm glad you just did her like that. She lip quivers out.
That's literally what she did. Go and watch. That's literally what she did.
She was like,
Olivia, this is what she does. Like, she demands more of Fitz probably than anyone else. I'm sorry, I'm a crookie. Because she knows she can, right?
True.
And that's not just about him being her lover. These people they have this, I don't know, this kind of everything relationship that, excuse me. Sorry, go ahead.
Like, my throat is messed up. Let me fix that. Jake thought Fitz was coming to him like a friend. Fitz with Long even started singing. Was that strategy and tactics of interrogation? That was the question I asked. And then here we go. I want to know why you killed my son. That was a powerful line that he kept repeating back to Jake. And I think honestly he felt betrayed by Jake, because even though we're talking about him and Liv being together or whatnot, Jake was really somebody Fitz also depended on. That was not somebody that he got through Cyrus or through other channels or through Rowan or any of that nonsense.
Right? That was his friend.
Exactly. So for him to saying that to him, it's almost like he's unreasonable right now, because he's pleading for, he doesn't have, just like you were saying, he doesn't have anybody. And Jake and Olivia were those two people. It's weird. It's
much like Huck. Fitz needs some help right now. He really does.
When he said the Melly, go ahead.
Did you guys notice that with the men in this episode? Huck, David, and Fitz, all three of these men were under a lot of stress and really struggling and needed some help. Huck was able to talk to Quinn even after the rejection by Kim and the attempted intervention, right? She tried to help. Then there was Quinn there that he could talk to. David has Abby. Fitz doesn't have anybody. Melly is like, wherever, and he takes care of her. They don't have that relationship.
But it's the same with Papa Pope.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same. Papa Pope doesn't he doesn't ever make himself vulnerable in that way. Fitz is.
Yes, he did.
Well, not really.
Yes, he did.
When is the last time
he made himself vulnerable in this episode when he went to Olivia's house? He's never done that before.
Right. No, he hasn't. But I also think that that's part strategy, because he knows what the fuck was up with Jake. Then this is what Rowan does, right? He's not an arch villain. He is totally capable of behaving like a father, and I actually find this relationship quite interesting in terms of like a father-daughter relationship, because it's not one I recognize from a father-daughter perspective. You know, my father was kind of a hippie. We had a great relationship, but my mother, it's something I was complaining about with Rowan the other day, and the way people interpret his actions, and it's like, oh, he's just trying to protect his daughter. And I'm like, no, this man has denigrated Olivia, exploited her sexuality for his own purposes, he assumed that Fitz viewed her as property or his favorite concubine and would discard her after finding out that she slept with another man that he ordered. So the fact that Rowan said that shit in this episode, I felt vindicated. But then he had to keep lying after that, and I'm like, yes, you did that, and that's lying. That's how he got her trust, right? Because he was he was honest at first, and then he started to weave in the other stuff. So he's coming out with all of these kind of declarations, like, yes, I did do that. I sent this guy in to sleep with you. I, tried to destroy your relationship with the president, and also other stuff. And yes, for my own gain, which we all know, and I have been complaining about for months and months and months. So to hear him say that, and then the stuff with weaving it in with Jake, which I felt were half truths. I do think Jake has been obsessed with Olivia, right? And the save me thing. It's really desperate and unattractive. And for me,
maybe Papa Pope saw our tweets about it. Maybe that's how
he picked up on Katrina, I think D. Shane is falling in love with you because of all of the things that you're saying about Jake.
I just know that we have 15 minutes left on this podcast. Tony Goldwyn. Fitz said, we have to stop doing this to each other. We just have to stop. When he said that to Melly, I think that also goes to the breaking point that Katrina was talking about. I just wanted you to be happy. That's all I ever wanted, Papa Pope. I think that was the truest statement he's made on any episode of the show since he's been on. I just wanted you to be happy. Gladiators.
And he compromises that. That's what he doesn't recognize.
That's true. I asked what the best line for last night was, and then I also talked about the fact that I was eating dinner when Quinn cut into that girl, and I almost threw up. I had to literally pause it. I was like, no, I can't do it. No. My favorite quote from this last night's episode was when David said to Abby, "Why are we all trying to be Olivia Pope?" That was
there's only one, baby.
Yeah.
Bow down, bitches.
And then just the thought that David and Abby really are trying to be Olivia Pope. It's two people trying to fill one woman's shoes. It's kind of weird. Most of the cases,
that says something, doesn't it?
It does. Most of the cases in this season, the only one that we see OPA gladiating for over several episodes is the case of her friend. And then also they keep mentioning the death of this judge. So do you think that's also going to come back into play?
Maybe. We'll see how that works out. I don't know if he's something with that is going to come back. But I just don't know there. We'll see if it does.
Katrina, D. Shane says amen to you. In regards to Jake.
Thank you, sir. It was a high five.
But to answer the question, I think it will, because the casting that has come out, I mentioned earlier, we know Kate Burton's coming back. I think they mentioned that Paul Adelstein is coming back as Leo, and then we just found out that they cast Abby's ex-husband, so Charles. So he's going to make an appearance on the show. They announced.
It's about
Sometimes I talk trash about Elde'a being all in the real world, but Elde'a, that was bold right there. Throw it out there.
Yeah. So I think I need together. I think.
What'd you say about a tire iron?
We need a flashback.
I need that flashback with Liv.
Yeah.
That tire iron.
Yeah. And I just want to say this. When I see Huck and Quinn and Olivia at the OPA offices, I know in previous podcasts we have all gave Harrison thumbs down, boo boo boo.
But you miss him, don't you?
And when I see them in the opening,
yeah.
George Harrison. I'm like, is he gonna walk in?
Oh yeah. Look at Josh.
I am feeling the violence.
I'm just looking at hate now.
I'm not gonna sing to be young, gifted, and black, but I'm going to sing.
We need the sound effects as well. Remember, we're also.
I am so not caring that
you
Harrison
noticed.
dead.
That's all I'm saying.
Toenail with some ashy toenails. I don't.
Did you notice?
I don't
notice. That's all I'm saying.
I feel no emptiness whatsoever. He had. What did you? You miss another brown face in the room? Is that what it is? That's all I can see coming from that. The only thing I miss is Abby being there. That's it. With the good snark. Love that. But outside of that, no. I don't miss Harrison.
But they do need that energy back.
They need somebody.
Yes. I think that's what I'm saying. It's like it's kind of like you have Huck and Quinn who are like super spy, and then you have Olivia who like is the brains. It's like, where's the muscle? I guess is what I'm saying. It's like Harrison and Abby went out in the field and got shit done.
Harrison is the muscle. Wait, what? Say that again.
Well, I get what she's saying because they were the ground. They were on the ground while
Harrison was the charm. That's who Harrison.
That's what it is. He was the charmer.
Yeah.
But
he and Abby were on the front line. Yeah.
Because
whatever.
Huck is the stealth one. Huck is quiet. He only speaks. He only speaks when spoken to, or when he
was stealthy when it got caught outside his baby mama house. He was so stealth. That lady was like, "What you doing here?" He was like, "Oh, where did you come from?" That was his stealth. He's not listening to this woman's conversation.
But by the way, I want to know who's out there in the daytime. Was that not the fun? Did you not chuckle when he walked into the? What's in Huck's son, the therapist? Was that not funny when he walked in and Huck was like, "Where's Javi?" And then this black guy walks in and you're like,
he's like, "Who the hell? Who this? Harpo, who this? Who this?"
And then she was like, "You need help," and I was like, "Oh, it's not his son. Thank God."
Oh, did you think you thought Javi shot up like that?
Okay.
No good. So timeline-wise, when they said, "How could it?" When Olivia said, "How could this be true?" We were standing in the sun. That to me meant a lot more than just the fact of the sun. It meant more like, how could this be true when we weren't even here? like how could that be true? We were on a plane and all of that. I think
because
that's
all of that was like the whole Harrison thing happened that day, or supposedly
while they were boarding the plane. Boarding the plane.
I just think once the pennies start to drop. But you know when you have an initial shock over something, like it's hard to add everything up, and we always have to remember that we have more information than Olivia does.
But the thing is the key to it is if she can get to Tom. If Tom hasn't already popped that cyanide pill,
I'm dead as a
I'm gonna miss Tom.
So
I figured out my list last week.
Tom is on Papa Pope's Island. That's where Tom is at.
So hopefully Tom either he gave Tom a key so that he could escape, and then eventually they'll have to track him down and get all the information from him, or he gave him a cyanide pill and then he'll never be able to talk again. But I'm praying that he didn't take the cyanide pill though.
So do you think that Quinn is going to get involved with the situation with Kim and Huck, so that she can make Kim believe?
I have a feeling she's going to stop by. That's my.
She learned her lesson.
No,
I don't think.
I
don't think so. I think this time she sees that he really wants to connect and he wants to see his son. So I think she's gonna find a way to make that happen.
She gonna kidnap another baby?
She might kidnap Javi. She might kidnap Javi and bring him to OPA.
I don't think Quinn is about that life. She's not gonna do it right now.
She did it before. She's done it before. Wouldn't be the first time.
Were there parallels between little Jerry's murderer being captured and Liv's friend being wrongly accused of murdering her daughter?
Wait, what was that?
What?
Were there any parallels between the fact that little Jerry's murderer, quotes, was captured, and Liv's friend, because you know the case, Liv's friend being accused of killing her daughter.
Wrongfully accused.
Yeah, wrongfully
And Jake being wrongfully accused. There are lots of great little parallels. Like I said, with the men, especially with Huck and Fitz and the whole son thing, and trying to reconcile those issues. There were, and I think Olivia is the key. Obviously, there were lots of keys this episode, but
I definitely see that whole situation coming back being somehow tied to B613. So, yeah.
You mean with the case with Olivia's friend, the girl?
Yeah, because that guy just looks all kinds of dark spy creepy to me. And then of course his thing where he told the guy, he said, "I told you not to ask me about my work." It's like, but wait a minute, you work for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's saying, "Don't ask me about my work."
Know. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know. Won't hurt you.
Can I
just say what my favorite quote was for the episode?
Go right ahead.
What can I say, baby? Today you get a 2 for drunk Melly and smelly Melly.
I put that into the thing. Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh my god! And I love that she was. And I love the fact that she was reading Prink magazine with a nice, beautiful black lady on it.
Yes, awesome! I noticed that too. I was like,
I tried. So I'm going to go ahead and read these last comments from the Gladiators because we got 5 more minutes left here on this podcast. You all can add your wrap-ups, and then we will jump into our Scandal Podcast After Dark. If you want to support the Scandal Podcast After Dark, it is dramaqueenbooks.com support. Lord, my whole brain just went blank. But it's dramaqueenbooks.com/support to support us in the podcast and for Scandal Podcast After Dark access. So the last comments that we have for this episode is, let's see, the show is no longer about OPA with White House dealings on the side. Now it's B613. R and J. I feel like Quinn has become more OP than OP. That's true. Suzette SF said that. And we got Sweet Treats Forever. Yes, she should have seen the red flag. Liv wants to stand in the sun so bad her gut has shut down. That's true. Hell, I felt like listening to them talk about the sun so much. I'm like, why am I in this cold weather? Legally Can 225 says, when the former proved to be true. Oh, I already read that out. Okay, so let's go up. Sweet Treats Forever says that they shouldn't have been more worried about Jake because he's B613. And then Huck and Fitz fathers wanting to see their sons, that parallel. Huck was so crushed when he couldn't see Hobby. Sweet Treats Forever says that was so sad. She didn't believe him. And then Coffee Light and Sweet, which is Gladiator in Harlem, says, I'ma say it. Bruh, Jake went without food and water and bio break before more than 48 hours. Got his butt kicked and still talk smack. That's a boss. Whoa, okay. Shane says, Olivia has no business asking her ex about her boyfriend. She is not loyal.
Don't even bring Chris Brown into this motherfucker.
Forever says she really didn't respond to Fitz saying, you're asking about your boyfriend? And then she says, right, Katrina, they are each other's person. They see each other. Other than the obvious, she can't think of anything else with relation to the parallels of the fathers. And then Gladiator in Harlem says, is SSA Tom still alive? Did Rowan give him a pass for throwing Jake under the bus? Anybody know? Man, listen, I can't. Sweet Treats Forever says, Liv's always been able to twist Fitz around because she knows how he feels about her. They see each other. Joey. Oh, that's a lot of Joeys, Joe. Says, other than the obvious, he can't think of anything else. That's in relation to the parallels. And then J. Greg 2010 says that she was worried enough. Like, they really didn't want to hear Olivia worry about Jake.
She was worried. She was appropriately worried throughout the episode. Yeah, I feel like I didn't need any more worry from her given the level of their relationship.
Spectin Script says, hell, while we asking questions, she has Gladiator in all of this. While we asking questions, is Maya still alive? And how is Jake going to get out of this mess? Yeah. Shane says Papa went to Olivia's house because he genuinely loves her and he knew she would be freaking about Jake. And Sweet Treats Forever says she just might, Quinn is nosy about the question about Quinn going to Kim. I hear myself, so somebody must not have their headphones on. And then Shane says, Katrina, Papa Pope can't tell her the truth. What sense would that make? And Sweet Treats Forever says, yep, he does. With regards to David didn't really go to Olivia for courtesy. He doesn't care if the situation with Jake is not David. Sai didn't go to Olivia for courtesy. He doesn't really care if the situation with Jake is true. He just wants Jake dead. And so Sweet Treats would ever agree with that. Interesting question. Quinn does seem to want Huck to get to know his family, so it wouldn't be without the realm of possibility. That's what Spectin Script answered. So that's where I'm going to end at because there are tons of more comments on this timeline. We'll be here forever reading comments. But thank you all, Gladiators, for chiming in.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
For this episode.
Thanks for coming back every week.
Yeah, Elde'a, and Langstan, give us.
I will be visiting my inbox on Sunday. I can't tomorrow, but Sunday.
You mean your Twitter, your Twitter inbox?
No, my Tumblr inbox. People like to ask questions, so
okay.
I'll do some questions on Sunday.
So what are your final thoughts on this episode, Elde'a and Katrina and Langstan? Give them your predictions for the next episode, which is titled Innocent Man.
Okay, my final thoughts on the episode. I think I said it earlier, it wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as everyone on Twitter was making it. I will say that. Katrina said she's been off Twitter. Let me tell you, it was a little bit of like 5-year-olds. It was a lot of
good old time.
I mean, yeah, it was a lot of it was what the fuck did I just watch? This is no longer Scandal. After coming out the last week.
This is why I don't like people. This is why I had a mental break.
Yeah. I think the next week when I watch, I won't be watching with Twitter because I'll actually be out of town, so I won't be watching till Friday. So I'm looking forward to that because Twitter kind of spoiled it for me last night. It had moments. The story is there. I think people just need to watch and quit, and don't watch it with expectations. Watch it for what it is.
Here's the thing that really gets on my nerves, because there are people who are like, they want to see the slayage, they want to see the breakneck pace, they want to see all the twists and turns, and it's like, are you fucking paying attention to the actual story going on? This show is its best when it is a character-driven show that also has like incredible moments and twists and turns, but not if the focus is on the twists and turns and then the character and the story. And some of that happened last season, which I don't prefer. So I'm glad they're back to it being more character-driven. And that's what I see going on right now, happening, that's building up.
Right.
And you never know when the show is going to take the fuck off and just launch into some other, atmosphere.
Right, because at the end of the day, no matter what Shonda does, no matter what we say, everybody is going to they're going to complain, because they complain when it's at breakneck speed, because it's like, oh, I can't keep up. It makes me have to think too much. Then when it's slow, then it's like, oh, I can hear myself thinking. So what do you want? It's like, it's like she I think she gives you a balanced season every season. She gives you the slow paces and the moments for you to breathe and for you to think it out. And, it's like, okay, how does this connect to whatever? And it's like, and my God, you had all summer to catch up and figure out what the hell happened last season so that this season makes sense to you. And it drives me nuts that people just, it's like, stop complaining and just pay attention. Because when it does pick up speed, you're going to be like, well, what happened?
Right. What happened?
Because you were so busy on Twitter complaining that you missed it all. So slow.
Yeah.
But it's like exercise. Like you run, you walk, you run, you walk, you run, you walk.
It's intervals.
Yeah, exactly. And you
Right.
can't keep going at that breakneck speed. You have to like build in order to get to that.
Because some of y'all's
crazy
some of these
explosion.
brains might explode if she starts going too fast.
Right. And this is only the 5th episode, and this is supposed to be
Yeah.
a full season, which means 22 episodes. Last year it was cut by 4 to 18 because of various things.
I just, speaking of the episodes gripe, I just have a tiny episode with ABC. If you're going to order more episodes of your show, order more episodes of the show that is actually number one in its demographic and its time slot. I love my comedies, but we should not be getting more Grey's Anatomy. I'm sorry. That's all. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Wait,
Grey's Anatomy is a comedy? Shit.
No, but I mean, like, more Grey's Anatomy, and they ordered more Modern Family, but they didn't order any more episodes of Scandal. So it's like, if you're going,
You know
to
what?
order
I don't
more,
want them to
support
order
your
any
shows.
more. I don't want them to order any more episodes of Scandal. To be frank, I would really prefer it if Scandal were only 13 episodes, because it's the kind of show that works really well when you
Like the
have
first season.
like a truncated like season, or even the first half of the second season. Like if it was just if that's how it is, because of the way the pacing and the storylines work. Like this show works like that. Like and also this is not a show that has like a forever shelf life. Like Shonda said that max this show can go to 8, and I at first I thought maybe 5, but now that we're in season 4, I could see how maybe we could get a little bit more out of more than 5, because I could see where there's some things that I think would be great to do, just depending on how she decides it. But no, I don't think Scandal needs more than 22 episodes. To be frank, I don't think Scandal needs more than 15 episodes. And it should really just be like that. American shows drag shit out like just entirely too much, and it gets on my goddamn nerves.
Yeah, how to get away with
to sign off now. So thank you all for joining us. Appreciate it. Let me have a little teddy bear. All right. So thank you all for joining.
Free hugs! Coming to After Dark for free hugs.
Now she's giving us more titty. All right.
You've
been signed off by looking at Katrina's girl. All right.
My stomach, my boobs.
Y'all have a good night.
Bye. Bye.